What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about my faults as a professional player on the Nike Giannis Immortality 4. I've had big issues with the past 3 Immortality models, namely the cushioning setup, the support features and the fit of the shoe, especially the fit. It's a different story for the Giannis Immortality 4, so let's get straight into it and start with the retail price. They retail for 90 euros a dollar, which is a great price in today's market. I got these from Kicks. You can find an affiliate link down in the description box below, or use my code Lucas for 10% discount on all the Giannis Immortality colorways. I especially like the Halloween colorway, and of course this one, which reminds me of the Pokemon Gengar. I don't know if I'm the only one who's seeing that, but it does really do look a lot like the Pokemon. Getting back to the shoe, as I said, retail price $90. That actually might make them the better option as a budget shoe compared to the normal signature shoe, which would be the Freak 6, which I've also tested. You can find a short form review on my account, simply because I think the Immortality 4 is much better value for money. And one reason being is the traction performance. They haven't changed the traction pattern of the Giannis Immortality 4 pretty much since the ones. They've made minor changes, but essentially it stayed the same. You've got a nice multi-directional pattern throughout the whole outsole, and it does work very well. It's extremely reliable. It works on clean courts, it works on dusty courts, it even works outdoors. It's not the most durable, but it will last you some time outdoors as well. In the past, the upper used to be a problem for especially outdoor hoopers, as it would rip really easily. We're going to talk about that later. But just for traction performance, a very solid ride. They don't give you a crazy hard stop like something like the Currys or the Austin 12 Encore, but they offer really reliable traction performance on all surfaces and even on dustier courts, and also dust pickup isn't the worst. The cushioning setup is where I've had massive issues in the past. I didn't like the Renew setup at all. It feels a lot different here on the Immortality 4. The design of this shoe also hasn't really changed that much. You still have this little caging here going up from the outsole. Here you can see you even have the traction pattern on there. And in the past, I felt like it was too caged. I couldn't feel any of the foam actually compressing, especially in the forefoot, but also in the heel. And on this model, it's a totally different story, as they are insanely comfortable right out of the box. Especially, I'm going to say it again, considering that they are a budget shoe retailing for only 90 euros a dollar. And usually on budget shoes, you don't really get that nice of a cushioning setup. The insole is just a standard Nike insole, nothing special there. And you also have just a regular strobel board with a very small cutout in the heel that allows for compression. Nonetheless, it's actually very comfortable, a very comfy setup. I was really surprised when I first put this on inside my flat to record the unboxing actually. I was insanely surprised how much compression I could feel right out of the box without even having to break them in. Because as I said, my biggest issue, or one of my bigger issues with the Immortality 3, the 2 and the 1, was that I couldn't feel the cushioning setup at all. The nice thing with them is that you're still relatively low to the ground, so even though you got some nice compression, impact protection, especially in the heel, you're still pretty low to the ground in the forefoot, so you're not high off the ground or unstable or anything like that. It's still a very minimal cushioning setup, but again, if you're only spending 90 euros or dollars, it's pretty nice for the price, and it will actually give you some comfort, some impact protection, and just some overall coziness and comfortness while playing in them. Moving on to the support of the shoe, that was really my biggest issue in the past. I just simply couldn't play with them because I felt support, and especially the torsional support, was absolutely trash and terrible. And that's also gotten way better on the Giannis Immortality 4. I don't have the feeling that my foot is moving out over the footbed as much anymore, and I don't have the feeling that the shoe is twisting up on itself as much. You can also see they're a little bit harder to bend, which is good for torsional support. I don't like when shoes flex in the midfoot area, as that is where your foot should not flex, or is not flexing, is not capable of flexing. But I prefer when you have some flex here all the way in the forefoot where your toes are. That's a natural movement, and that's where shoes should flex, and in the midfoot they should be supportive to support your arch. And that was a big issue on especially the Giannis Immortality 3. And now on this pair, that feels way better. If I'm doing really hard lateral stops, so like I'm going full speed, let's say we have to run suicides in practice or 10 in the minutes, and I'm stopping on a dime on the line from full speed, stopping on a dime, changing direction, then I can still feel the shoe twisting up on itself a little bit, and also my foot moving out over the footbed, which happens on every shoe, but these just don't contain it as well as some others. But yet again, for a budget shoe, it's a really solid performer, and they finally fixed the support issues. We've also got a nice and solid heel counter, so there's no heel slip or issues in the heel area. And the lacing system actually also works pretty well, keeps you locked in and your foot on the footbed, even though I wish they would have added some kind of flywire straps here on the side. I think that could have gotten rid of the torsional stability issues very easily and with minimal effort or money from Nike's side. They didn't. Maybe they'll do it in the Giannis Immortality 5 if they continue the line. To sum up the support features, they were pretty decent. For a budget shoe, I would say good. For a regular shoe, I would say decent. Nothing to worry about, but also not the strongest suit of the shoe. We still have all synthetic materials, which is actually something I like. They break in quicker, they feel comfier on foot, and they conform to your feet better than leather materials, in my personal opinion. And something which I also particularly like about this shoe and which makes them nice for outdoors as well is that we have this little toe guard here, which is going to be nice for toe draggers, especially if you're playing outdoors. And in general, even if you don't drag your toes and you're playing outdoors, this right here will protect the upper where it's prone to rip, or where it's most prone to rip. So that will be a really nice add-on, or that is a really nice add-on. In the past, I've seen a lot of shoes from the Immortality line rip either here or here, and I still think that will be a high wear and tear area on the Giannis Immortality 4 as well, simply because the materials are still very soft. I feel like there's only one or maybe two basic layers. You can feel like an inner layer, and then you can even slip your hand in there and you can see under, like on the inside of the tongue, you can see, I'm trying to show it on camera, but I don't think you can see. Try to put a close-up on camera. You can see that you're already on the outer layer, so it's not really a lot there. That's why I think it will still rip relatively easily. But the good thing is the materials feel comfortable. They're well padded, especially in the heel area, which adds a nice coziness alongside the cushioning setup I talked about already. The tongue is also relatively well padded, so if you're playing with ankle braces, these could be a good option, as there's still enough foam in between the laces and the ankle brace so it doesn't press terribly on your foot. For breathability, these are actually also quite good. Not the best, not the worst. As I said, we've got this little overlay I showed you before that keeps the heat in there a little bit, but then we've got some breathability holes in the tongue, and as the materials are so thin and there's not that many layers, they're actually quite nice, which is yet again another reason why I think these would actually also work outdoors. Now, for the last thing we're going to talk about, the fit of the Giannis Immortality 4. I had big issues with the Giannis Immortality 3. My feet are extremely wide in the midfoot area, and the Giannis Immortality 3 was so narrow there that I actually had a bruise on my foot after practicing with them for like 2 hours. It was a team practice, we were scrimmaging, and I used them because I wanted to try them out, and I got a bruise on my foot because of it, simply because my foot was so wide and the materials were pressing so much against my foot. I never wore them again after that. I actually sold them. I don't even have them anymore, because what's the point of keeping them if I can't wear them? Here on the Immortality 4, it's way better. They still hurt my feet at first, but if you break them in a little bit, it gets better, because as you can see, the toe box itself is actually relatively wide, and also the midfoot is relatively wide for a Nike shoe. This right here is where my foot is wide and where the materials usually pinch against it like crazy. I felt it the first couple of times while playing with them. It got better after that. So I would say go with your true size. If you have crazy wide feet, you probably size up anyway. So the full size up or the half size up is your true size. If you have narrow feet or normal size feet, I would definitely go true to size. Lengthwise, they fit perfectly like a regular Nike US 14. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. The only thing left for me to say is if you enjoyed my content, I would highly appreciate a like, a comment, and of course a subscription to my channel. Have a good one and see you next time for more performance reviews.